What's up guys, it's Robin here, and this video I'm going to be teaching you guys all the reroll comps that are viable in game right now. If you guys have been playing set 5 for the current patch, you know that reroll comps are really strong right now, and they're probably the S tier comps right now. These comps were probably not even viable last patch. So if you guys are feeling lost, hopefully this video can help you guys out to kind of learn learn how to play the reroll comps. I'm gonna try to cover all the reroll comps that are playable right now. I might be missing some, but these are the ones that I have played before and that I've seen in Challenger solo queue games. For all of these reroll comps, I'm gonna be talking about when to play these reroll comps, what are the items you're looking for your carries, and the overall strategy for these comps. A lot of these strategies are going to be consisting of playing strongest board until either level 6 or level 7, and you're just going to be staying level 6, level 7, and rolling until you hit your 3-star carries. I'm going to be using the term slow rolling a lot. What slow rolling means is you're going to be econing up to 50 gold, and in whatever gold you have above 50, you just roll down until you hit 50 again for the units that you need, and that's what's called slow rolling. I also want to mention that try not to force these comps too hard. If you're going into a game and just gonna force a comp right from the get-go without seeing your opener, you're gonna have a rough time, because if you are contested and someone else is like ahead of you in tempo for this comp, you're probably going to get buff 4. So always look to scout to see if you're contested. Make sure you have the proper opener for these comps to play them, or else you're probably gonna lose a lot of LP if you're forcing it. The first comp I'm gonna be talking about is the Draconic set reroll comp. When should you play this comp? So you should play this comp when you have either an early Draconic or an early Brawler start with like a bunch of swords. So you need a lot of swords for this comp, because set best in slot items it needs 2 swords, and his items are not that flexible in my opinion. Early openers for this comp is going to be a Brawler opener, so something like early Gragas and Warwick with like a Kha'Zix early game or something like this. This will probably be consisting of this will probably be your early game. If you happen to get an early set, I would try to pre-level at stage 2-1 to try to get the early 3 Draconic. If you get an early 3 Draconic, it's like a guaranteed top 4 because you get so much free gold. What like an early like non-high roll board would probably be like you know, Warwick, Gragas, Kha'Zix, and maybe you hit like a set, but something like this. A very high roll board would be if you high roll a Nunu from shop or orb, then you can play Nunu here for 4 brawlers, which is extremely strong. Another opener for this would be a 3 Draconic opener, so something like Udyr plus like if you get an Ashe or a Zyra. So you will play 3 Draconic plus 2 Brawler. This is also a very strong start. So for this comp, you're going to be playing strongest board until level 6, okay? So until at level 6 at stage 3-2, you're going to roll down for, ideally you're going to roll down for 3 Draconic and then 4 Brawlers. So it's going to be Ashe or Zyra, Udyr, Sett, Warwick, Gragas, and Nunu. So this is your level 6 board. It's an extremely strong level 6 board, plus you get the 3 Draconic that gives you free money every turn. So this is the ideal board you're looking for. You're not always going to be hitting Nunu. You always want 3 Draconic though when you roll down at 3-2. It's pretty relatively easy to hit because you have the option of Udyr, Ashe, and Zyra. So you'll probably hit at 3-2. 4 Brawler is a little bit harder to hit because you absolutely need to hit Nunu. So a lot of times you don't even hit Nunu. So what you'll be playing is probably just like 3 Brawlers plus a mixture of Draconic or something. But you do want to aim for the set 2 at 3-2 for this comp, or else you're not stable at all. But this is the comp, this is the board you're looking for. If you hit Zyra, Zyra replaces Udyr like this. And then you're just going to be level 6 for the majority of the game. You're just going to keep rolling for set 3. Once you hit set 3 is when you should push levels to level 7, level 8, level 9. If you have a lot of Nunus, if you hit a lot of Nunus while you were rolling for set at level 6, you could go for Nunu 3 at level 7 or level 8. But that's basically the overall game plan for this comp. Roll for set 3 and then push levels. Pretty easy. So itemization. Actually, let me talk about like what units you play after this. So what I like to play at level 7 is I like to play like a brand for Spellweaver. And then level 8, if you're trying to go 9, your level 8 board doesn't really matter too much. You can play whatever you want. Just like strong units like, you know, Ivern, or you can play like a Vel'Koz for another Spellweaver. You can play like Varus for like Sharpshooter for Ashe, you know, whatever. If you're going 9 though, this is gonna be your final board. So you're gonna want to look for you're gonna want to play Volibear. Usually you take out Gragas because Warwick has a stud. So you play Volibear. You want to play the Ivern for Revenant with Volibear, and then you want to play Heimer, and then you want to play like all the OP units like Teemo, you know, stuff like that. You can take out Ashe and Zyra late game for stronger units. But basically, you're gonna be playing around 4 brawlers: Ivern, Heimer, you know, Teemo. What's another OP unit? And, you know, Kindred. Like, you can stack Mystic. You can play Garen. Like, you can do whatever. But basically, it's the core. Your core units are gonna be your 4 brawlers. Like, late game is gonna be 4 brawlers with Volibear and Ivern and probably like Heimer or something. So back to the atomization. It's pretty it's like, it's not flexible at all. The items you want to go for SETT is BT, IE. Shadow IE is better. BT is way better than Wrister. But then if you have to build Wrister, you build it. So, but then, and also for IE, Shadow IE is better, but then most of the time you're going to be building IE. And the last item is going to be Titan's Resolve. Titan's Resolve, regular Titan's Resolve is best. Shadow Titan's Resolve doesn't work. So this is your BIS. If you don't have BT, you can replace BT with Shadow Hodge, which is pretty good. Tank items, you do want the Redemption on Nunu. Redemption is super good in this comp to give SETT more survivability. Any tank items you just put on Nunu, like Warmogs, any belt items, whatever, tank items, chain items, cloak items, you just put it on Nunu. Another item that's really good for this comp is Shadow Locket, because Shadow Locket, your units get mana from getting hit, so they don't really need to get mana from hitting people. So Shadow Locket is extremely good for this comp. If you have a lot of Ashe or Zyra and you know you're going to be going for Ashe 3 or Zyra 3, you could itemize them with your leftover items. So for Ashe, you know, items like Gwynsu's is good. Any AD or attack speed item is good on Ashe. And then for Zyra, any AP or mana item is good on Zyra. So like Blue Buff, Shojin, JG, whatever. That's pretty much it for this comp. There's not much else to say. For a lot of these reroll comps, like, there's not much to say. Like, you get to a certain level, you stabilize your board, and you start slow rolling for the 3-cost unit. And after you get the 3-cost unit, you're gonna push levels. It's pretty easy. Oh yeah, let me talk about the positioning for this comp. So positioning, you're basically gonna be moving your 4 brawlers left and right. If they're left side, you just want to put you want to put your brawlers left side. If they're right side, you want to move it right side like this. You want to make sure you're set in the corner here, because sometimes he can move past the front line and just like punch the back line, and it's a free win. The next comp I'm going to be talking about is VARUS Reroll comp. So for VARUS Reroll, when to play this comp, if you have like an early bow item like Runons or Gwynsu's, and then you have early upgraded knights, or an early Varus. So your early game is going to be looking like, you know, the Leona, Poppy, and then maybe like Varus plus a redeemed. It's like Sindra or something. So your early game is going to look something like this. You know, if you have a Leona 2, Poppy 2, and you have like an early Varus, you can play Varus Reroll. So basically for this comp, you're going to be playing strongest board until level 6. Once you get to level 6, your board is probably going to, you're going to play a board with a mixture of 4 knights, 3 redeemed, 2 rangers. You can't fit all of these in until level 7, but you just play a mixture of these depending on what your strongest board is. So a common board will be, look like, if you play 4 knights, it's going to be Nautilus Thresh, something like this. And then you can either play a ranger like Ashe for 4 knights, 2 ranger, or you can take out the Ashe and play like a Lux for 4 knights, 3 redeemed. It just depends what is your current strongest board. And this is your level 6. Once you're level 6, you're just gonna be rolling down here for Varus 3. You could once you hit Taric, you're gonna replace Poppy with Taric. I think for this comp, once you have like a good amount of Varuses, like if you have like 6 or 7 Varuses, you could push 7 and roll there, because this comp spikes up. This comp spikes at 7, because at 7 you can just play Ashe, and then you get the like Verdant redeemed for your full comp right here. And then you can just stay 7 to roll for Varus 3. Once you get Varus 3, you can just push levels. You do want to go level 9, because at level 9 you can play 4 rangers with Aphelios and Kindred. So you can play 4 rangers, 2 knights, 3 redeemed. Another variation of this comp though is you don't have to play 4 knights. You can take out Leona and Thresh, and then you can play Rel plus like Lulu for 3 Mystic, depending on the lobby. Something like this is probably going to be the most capped board late game. But basically, just keep in mind you're going to be playing around Varus, Knights, and Redeemed, basically. So for itemization for this comp, for Varus, he's actually very flexible with his items, because he does AP damage and AD damage. So you can literally build like whatever on him. But I think the core item that he needs is probably Runons, because he does on-hit damage. So Runons basically like doubles his DPS. And then the you know, Gwynsu's is very good. if you have Rangers in, but he just like scales infinitely with Guinsu's. Items such as Deathblade is also good. Last Whisper, BT, Jeweled Gauntlet, IE, Rabadons. Like, they're all very good. Just basically any like AP, attack speed, or AD item is all good on Varus. But just make sure you try to get the Runons, because Runons is really, really good for him. You do want to get Redemptions. Redemption is extremely good for this comp to keep the Varus alive. So once you have the Ashen, I like to stack Ash with like infinite Redemptions, or like at least one Redemption. So put the Redemption on, and then once you hit Taric, you play Taric for Poppy, and then I like to stack the tank items on either Taric or Rel whenever you get Rel in. Just like Warmogs, you know, Gargoyles, stuff like that. As far as positioning for this comp, it's pretty self-explanatory. You kind of want to keep everyone clumped up to get the Verdant value and also to get the Varus spell value. If you have Lux, you can put Lux in the corner to bait like Threshes and stuff. But you can honestly, I don't even think that many people are playing Threshes anymore. So you can just put Varus in the corner, which keeps them super safe. There's not much else to say about positioning for this comp. You just want to stay clumped up. If the opponent has a lot of AoE spells and stuff, you can frontline your Leona here so they don't come up. Alright, so the next comp or comps I'm going to be talking about is the Assassin reroll comps. And the Assassin reroll comps, there's 3 variations, but they're all very, very similar. It's a LeBlanc reroll, Katarina reroll, and Nocturne reroll. So, Nocturne reroll. So when do you play Nocturne reroll? So if you have like an early Sin opener, such as, you know, Gragas, Warwick, Kha'Zix, and like you high roll like a Nocturne or Katarina or get like a LeBlanc from Orb, and you have the items you have are you know, you have a Runant and like a sword or glove or something, you can look to play Nocturne reroll. So basically for this comp, you want to play strongest board until level 7, and at level 7 you want to stage 4-1 you want to roll down for a 4 Sin frontline comp, frontline comp. So frontline board. So it's going to look like LeBlanc in, Katarina in. Probably if you hit Diana, it's going to be Diana over Kha'Zix. And you want to roll for Ivern at 4-1 for sure. And then these 5 units are going to be the core units. The other 2 units are pretty flexible, to be honest. If I get multiple Iverns, I like to play as many Iverns as I can. I've played games where I played Hecarim plus like Thresh for Forgotten, and Hecarim's a really beefy unit. Maybe you can play like a Sejuani for Cavalier. Honestly, you just play whatever, like 2 frontline stall units, basically. Units that can stall for a long time for your assassins to kill the backline. So this is going to be your level 7 board, and you're just going to be staying 7 and slow rolling for Nocturne 3, and you can go for Cat 3 if you have items for Cat, basically. Items on Nocturne are going to be Runons, IE, or Shadow IE, +1. And I found that this last item is pretty flexible. You know, you can do RFC, you can do like another Runons, you can do Deathblade, you can do Last Whisper. But I've actually found that Final Whisper is actually really good in this comp. The reason is because Final Whisper also cuts magic resist, and cutting magic resist benefits Katarina and LeBlanc to do more damage, and Diana as well. So it's actually pretty good in this comp. And I built it a couple times, and I've gotten first building Final Whisper a lot. So basically, yeah, you want to slow roll at 7 for Nocturne 3, but also sometimes if you don't have that many Nocturnes and you're like behind on tempo, you can just push 8 and just play with Nocturne 2, which is totally fine. Because this comp spikes at 8. Because when you go 8, you can actually fit in 6 Sins. You can take out Hecarim and Thresh, and once you hit the Viego, you can play Viego plus Kha'Zix, and you have 6 Sins, and then you play Volibear if you have Volibear. And this is going to be your final board, and it's extremely strong. 3 Revenant, 6 Sins. Super strong. Your Nocturne's going to one-shot everything. And then you can roll for Nocturne 3 at 8. But the chances of you hitting Nocturne 3 at 8 is pretty slim, to be honest. Because you're spending too much gold to level up. But it just depends on how the game is going. For itemization, it's going to be, you know, Runon's IE +1 for Nocturne. Any tier items or AP items I like to put on Katarina. A lot of times I find myself putting Morello and Katarina, you know, blue buff, stuff like that, whatever. Or like Frozen Heart. And then all the tank items you just want to stack like on Ivern or something. Another item that's super good for this comp is going to be Shadow Locket. because Nocturne doesn't use mana, so you can put Shadow Locket on your Ivern, Volibear, and Nocturne. And if you have blue buff Katarina, you can also Shadow Locket blue buff Katarina, because Katarina already gets full mana from blue buff. For positioning for this comp, basically you just want to move your Nocturne on the side of the carries. Pretty simple. Viego, LeBlanc, Kha'Zix, and Diana probably all on the same side of their carries. Katarina will just be on the opposite side because she daggers to the opposite side. Next up, I'll talk about the Katarina reroll. Katarina reroll extremely similar to the Nocturne reroll. Same opener, except the itemization is a little bit different. So you want to play same thing. You want to play strongest board until level 7, and then your level 7 is going to be consisting of 4 Sins plus Covet. So it's going to be LeBlanc, Cat, Lissandra, Morgana, Nocturne, and Diana, and probably Ivern. For Katarina reroll, this is going to be your level 7 when you start slow rolling for Cat. You need 3 Coven. You want to Coven Katarina and just move Katarina left or right depending on where their carries are. The items for Katarina is going to be GA plus IE plus 1. And this last item could be blue buff, but I think Shadow Hodge is actually the best in slot for Katarina, because with blue buff sometimes Katarina doesn't do enough damage. And then also any attack speed 80 items you put it on Nocturne, so like you know Runons, and then any tank items you put it on Morgana, so like GA Morello is really good. Something like this. You just stay level 7 to roll for Cat 3. Once you get Cat 3, you go level 8, and then you play you try to put in 6 Sins. You can take out Coven for 6 Sins, but try to push level 9 so you can play your final board with Kha'Zix plus Viego. This is the final board for Katarina. And the last variant of Sin is going to be LeBlanc reroll. LeBlanc reroll is a little bit different because she's a 2-cost unit, so you're going to be rolling at 6 instead of 7. So your level 6 board, same thing, you're going to play strongest board into level 6. And at level 6, your board is going to be 3 Coven plus Sins. So it's going to be LeBlanc, Morgana, Lissandra, Nocturne, Katarina, and then Kha'Zix. So this is your level 6 board, extremely strong, 3 Coven, 4 Sins. Itemization, very similar. You want the GA-IE on LeBlanc, but then for LeBlanc, you really want the Shadow Blue buff. So like when to play Cat or Nocturne or LeBlanc, I think it depends on your items early game. If you get the Shadow tier early game, you probably want to play the LeBlanc version. Like if you get like a lot of 80 items, you probably play the Nocturne version. If you get like if you get like a bunch of Cats and no LeBlanc, you play the Katarina version. I do think this version is probably the strongest one, because LeBlanc is probably like the strongest out of the 3 carry, and it's like the easier 1 to 3-star. Very similar. So you put Runons on Nocturne, and then you slow roll for LeBlanc 3, and then once you get LeBlanc 3, you can push levels to 7 or 8 to roll for Cat 3, Nocturne 3, or you can just push levels and add in the other units, like in all the other Sin comps like Ivern, Volibear, Viego for 6 Sins. Next, I'm going to be talking about Brand Cavalier reroll. Brand Cavalier reroll, when to play this comp. You play this comp when you have like a tier opener or a tier start, and you have an early Cavalier plus Spellweaver board. So let's say you have like a early Ziggs plus Brand, and you get the Hecarim plus Kled, and you have a tier, then I would probably try to play this comp. Basically, for this comp, you're playing strongest board until level 6, and in level 6, you want to roll down for a mixture of Spellweaver and Cavaliers. I think the strongest version is probably going to be 2 Cav plus 4 Spellweaver, but you can also play like 3 Cav, 3 Spellweaver. You can play 4 Cav, 2 Spellweaver, depending on what you hit. So a sample board is going to look like Sedge, Hecarim, Brand, Ziggs, Victor, and Zyra. So it's going to look something like this. Or you can take out the Zyra Ziggs and play Kled plus Rel if you hit Rel. And then you can play 4 Cavs also. I think 4 Cav is a little better, especially since when you hit the Rel. But if you don't have Rel, then it's probably going to be Ziggs plus Zyra. And then so basically you're gonna go level 6 here. You're gonna slow roll for Brand 3, Hecarim 3. These are the 2 most important units, 3-star. You could also get Victor 3 and Sedge 3 if you get a lot of them, but they're optional. Once you hit Brand 3, Hecarim 3, you push levels and you just add in Cavaliers, so Kled and then Rel. And then once you hit Vel'Koz, you can take out Ziggs for Vel'Koz. and then your board's gonna look something like this. 4 Cap, 4 Spellweaver. Pretty simple. You could take out the Kled and play Rise instead. So for Rise gives you Forgotten trait, and it also helps you against assassins. So Rise is a very good unit to play because there's not that big of a difference between 3 Cav and 4 Cav, to be honest. And if you don't really want to play Kled late game. Itemization for this comp is going to be blue buff on Brand, Jeweled Gauntlet, and then the last one is pretty flexible. But I think a good item for the third item is going to be Gunblade, and also Shadow Gunblade is also very good because Shadow Gunblade now heals lowest percent health, so it's going to be really hard to kill your Cavaliers with Brand healing everyone. And then after itemizing Brand, you want to itemize Hecarim with tank items. So any tank items is good. You know, Warmogs, Shadow Titans is very good. You know, Bramble, Redemption, Declaw, Sunfire Cape, you know, basically any tanky item you just slam on Hecarim. You don't really get to choose Hecarim items too much in this comp, but you just slam whatever items on Hecarim. Positioning for this comp, I don't think it really matters too much. Basically you just want to dodge assassins, because this comp assassins can really if your brand dies, like, you just basically lose the fight. So basically just try to protect your brand from assassins and you should be pretty good. Next, I'm going to be talking about Riven Reroll. So Riven Reroll is when you're playing around Riven with Riven 3 WinCon. And I would only play this if you have either like probably like an early Riven or even an early Riven 2, and you can just go for the Riven 3 to win the game. Common openers for this comp is going to be Dawnbringer, Legionnaire, so Gragas, Warwick, and then if let's say you hit the early Riven, and then you can play like an Aatrox or Callista for Legionnaire. This is a sample like a game if you're planning on playing Riven Reroll. But basically you also play strongest board until level 7, and then once you're at level 7 at stage 4-1, you're gonna be rolling down for your Riven board. And what that consists of is this comp is actually pretty hard to play because there's not like a set like level 7 board you play. You basically play around Legionnaires and Dawnbringers and other tank units, whatever you hit basically. But usually at level 7, the board you want to look for is Mordekaiser for Legionnaire. You also want the Yasuo. What I like to do is play Yasuo, and then you play probably like a Callista for Legionnaire. And then for the Dawnbringer, I like to play Soraka. Soraka is probably one of the best Dawnbringers right now before you hit Garen. A unit I like to play is going to be Taric. Because Taric provides so much for Riven. And then the last unit is probably it's pretty flexible. You can play whatever you hit. So you can play like you know, you can play whatever 2-star you hit. So Pantheon's good, Lee Sin is good, Nautilus is good, you know, Thresh. Basically you just play whatever. 4 Legionnaire, 2 Dawnbringer. So this is like a sample board at level 7. Basically you get 2 Dawnbringer from Soraka, and then you get 4 Legionnaire with Mordekaiser, Yasuo, and Callista. And then you just stay with this board, and then you roll for Riven 3. And then once you hit Riven 3, you push levels to try to get the Garen in and get better Legionnaires and get Verdant in. Once you hit Riven 3, you want to get Verdant in, because Verdant, the first 5 or 8 seconds that Riven is has QSS on her, she just kills the whole board if she's 3-starred. So a sample board would probably be, once you get Riven 3, you push levels and you take out Soraka for Garen, and then you take out Callista for Kayle, and then you play the Ashe for the 3 Verdant. You take out the probably Lee Sin is a good unit here to play for Dragon Slayer plus Nightbringer. So this is probably like your end game board. Itemization, you want Runons on Riven, probably like Runons plus 2, but good items are going to be, you know, IE, Last Whisper, BT, stuff like that. I really like BT Runons plus 1, because with BT Runons you can actually 1v9. BT Runons IE, but to be honest, Riven's items are pretty flexible. I've had games where I had IE Last Whisper, you know, RFC, Deathblade, they all work. Basically any attack speed or AD item. And then tank items go on Taric, so let's do the Warmogs. And then that's basically it. Next I'm going to be talking about is the Yasuo reroll comp. Pretty similar to Riven, but when to play this comp is when you hit an early Yasuo with like Runons or something, you can probably commit to this comp. A common early game board is going to be, you know, the early Yasuo plus like whatever frontline you can get, right? Aatrox, Gragas, Warwick. probably something like this opener you can probably commit to. If you have like you know, if you have like if you have an early Yasuo, you can probably commit to the Yasuo reroll. Basically, play strongest board until level 7. Level 7, you want to roll down for this exact board. It's going to be Lee Sin, Mordekaiser, Ophelios, Diana, Morgana, Sejuani, Morgana. So something like this. Basically 6 Nightbringer plus 1 Legionnaire. You can replace Ophelios or Diana with Vladimir if you don't hit any of these yet. But this is the board you're going to be looking for. And then you want to just slow roll here for Yasuo 3. And then once you get Yasuo 3, you can level up for like a Kindred, for like the Mystic Ranger, which is pretty good. Itemization, you want the Runons on Yasuo. JG is also very good. And then the last item is pretty flexible. RFC works, you know, Hodge, GA, Guinsoo's, Shadow Hodge, whatever. JG can also be replaced with Hodge. So besides Runons, I think his items are pretty flexible because he does AD and AP damage. You also, you know, if you can get GA Morello on Morgana, that's really good. GA Morello, and then, you know, all the other AD attack speed items you put it on Ophelios, the tank items you put on Mordekaiser, and then that's pretty much it. The next comp I'm going to be talking about is the Soraka reroll comp. Soraka reroll, when to play this comp, if you have early renewer board and you have like a bunch of gloves, you can and like a couple Sorakas, you can probably commit to this comp. So early game board, Lysandra, Vladimir, and Soraka. Something like this. If you have like Lysandra 2, Vladimir 2, like Soraka 2, you know, and then like an IE or like a Jeweled Gauntlet, you can probably play this, commit to this comp. Basically, you play strongest board until level 6, and then you're gonna be putting in Coven and Renewers. So LeBlanc plus Morgana, and then the last unit is pretty flexible. You can play like a Gragas for like Dawnbringer. You know, you can play the Kha'Zix for Dawnbringer Assassin. But it's pretty flexible. But you really want to be getting Ivern in whenever you can. But you're not going to hit Ivern until a while, because you're going to be rolling at 6, which isn't that good odds for Ivern. But if you hit Ivern, you know, obviously you want to put the Ivern in. And then you just stay 6, and then you keep re-rolling until you hit Soraka 3. You can also go for Vladimir 3, Lysandra 3, and LeBlanc 3, depending on how close you are. But the core unit is going to be Soraka 3. Once you hit Soraka 3, you can push levels and start playing units such as Nocturne for the Revenant Sins. You can play, you can just start stacking Mystic. So you can play like Lulu with like Lux, stack Mystic. Also, if you're level 8 or level 9, you can put in the Volibear and just cap out like that. Itemization, you want Jeweled Gauntlet, IE, +1 on Soraka. A mana item's good, Shojin, blue buff, Shadow Hodge is also good. Shadow Hodge is probably best in slot. And then you want the you know, GA Morello on Morgana if you can. And then like tank items on Vladimir or something, if it's Vladimir 3. Late game, I don't think it's worth to play Heimer, because for this comp, the fight ends pretty fast because Soraka just kills everything super quick. So you don't really need to play Heimer. But you know, if you don't have Vladimir 3, you can take out Vladimir and just replace it with Heimer. When to play this comp, when you have a lot of Warwicks early game and you get this item right here, you get this Archangel Staff. You're gonna have an Archangel Staff with a lot of Warwicks, you can just play this comp. Pretty easy to play. You just want to play 4 brawlers with Warwick, so Nunu, Gragas, and SETT. And then you're gonna be slow rolling at level 5, and then basically you just, once you get Warwick 3, you just push levels and you just stack Mystic units, so like Lulu, Lux, Rise, whatever. So this is an example of your late game board. Basically, you're just playing around 4 brawlers, and probably you just add in like Infinite Mystic, because these units are broken. And you just play around Warwick 3. So that's it for my guide for most of the reroll comps you can play in this patch right now. There are some that I missed, like probably like Vayne reroll and Skirmisher reroll. But honestly, I don't have much experience playing Skirmisher reroll, so I don't have a guide for that. And Vayne reroll is the same Vayne reroll since it's been since the beginning of the patch. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. But hopefully this video can help you guys out to know what comps. If you have the proper opener for it, you can probably play the comps. Try not to force the comps too much, and also make sure to scout to see if you're contested. I'll see you guys next time.